It's the Bueno Report.
Well, who would have known? Coffee makes you a woman? In another fun week in the murder capital of Canada, we were treated to an epic rant from the owner of the now defunct Aspect Fitness. The owner went on an insane rant, bashing feminism, claiming that it was the worst virus of the year, worse than COVID-19, and saying that men these days are much too feminized. After lines of poor gramming and terrible spelling, he finished his tirade by saying that laziness is inherently a feminine trait. See, that's actually called being submissive. You know what, never mind. He also went on to say that making excuses is also a feminine trait. I bet you any kind of money this guy's had a lot of ex-girlfriends tell him they have really bad headaches right before they go to bed. He went on to explain that enjoying a new relationship, a new car, or a cup of coffee doesn't make you a real man. Rather, you're a little boy who's tainted by feminism. This begs the question, is it gay to drive? Obviously, there's way too much stick handling involved in driving. And how obvious of an innuendo is cleaning your windshield? You're spraying fluid directly towards your mouth. No wonder there are so many vehicles at the Pride Parade. This is clearly feminism's fault. Real men take the bus with pride. The only reason I'm upset this man deleted his Instagram is because I wanted to see him personally promise to track down Harry Styles, even though his primary use of transportation is Winnipeg Transit. In a world that's constantly changing, it's good to question things, especially traditional gender roles. We need a mix of masculine and feminine. They work together. It's when idiots like this start to say things like feminine traits are a bad thing that we start to lose a grip on what helps make society a great place. Differing skill sets working together in unison. If you like compassionate, intuitive, attentive people, hey, those are traditionally feminine qualities, and there's nothing wrong with that. As a man, it's important to be confident in who you are, regardless of what anybody says. This is why no matter what Benny Bootstrap says on Twitter, it doesn't matter what the fuck Harry Styles wears on the cover of Vogue magazine. Guess what? Harry Styles being goal-oriented and passionate about what he loves are traditionally masculine traits. So stop hyper-focusing on the dress. Besides, my boy at Aspect Fitness told me that being easily offended is a feminine trait. So you better watch those Twitter fingers, Shapiro. Also, just because something is traditionally masculine doesn't mean it's just for men. Women can be goal-oriented and focus on their careers too. Candace Owens, you have a podcast and beef people on Twitter. That doesn't make you a 30-year-old white man. So who the hell cares what Harry Styles does? Back to Aspect Fitness. Anybody who goes off on their Instagram story and brags about the amount of hate they're getting, and then follows it up by saying, it was just a social experiment, is a major dork and deserves slander. My question is, at what point do public shamings go too far? When do we hit the line? Is it when we involve family members? When we release names and personal information? When we get them fired from their jobs? Just a couple of weeks ago, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted that we should archive those who supported Trump so that when they try to recede back, we can get them and hold them accountable for what they did. Guys, we need to stop treating the former president like he's some kind of mass murderer. Wrong president. Look, Trump's got a lot of skeletons in his closet, and he's said some extremely stupid shit. However, we need to stop this thing of being on attack mode when it proves us being right. That's an incredibly slippery slope, and it happens on both sides of the coin. How many people remember Shanti Marostica, a comedian from Toronto, who claimed that comedy was not a safe enough space for everybody included? Shanti was ruthless in condemning comedians like Louis C.K., claiming their stage time actively harmed people from marginalized communities. Shanti developed a huge following, and everybody helped her in the brigade of leading the safe space comedy movement. However, when news came out that Shanti was somebody who was abusing and sexually violating people in the scene, a lot of her supporters backed down without publicly condemning her. The wrong thing to do would have been to keep their names and track them down for their support. Look, I get the grievances with Trump. He's done stupid shit, but all politicians have sins. The last 4 presidents can be considered international war criminals, and those were 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. Public shamings happen way more often with social media. Anytime you go to a tweet or a post with some controversial subject matter, you are guaranteed to find an internet turf war happening in the comment section. These arguments may not cross the line, however, they cause way more grief than necessary. I understand why we body bag people online. You get a rush of excitement to get caught up in the drama, and you get a really good feeling of support when people tell you you're on the right team. However, it's important to tread carefully and watch for the line. In the case of Aspect Fitness, his arrogance dug his own grave. Just remember, things might not be so black and white in the future, and the mob is always looking for moral superiority. One day, they might come for you too.
It's the Bueno Report.